you should talk about you. Who are you? Who is the person deciding, the interlocutor? Who is your opponent who's maybe really against this issue? Do you have allies, other initiatives, other young people, other businesses who may be with you? Do you have people who try something similar? And what does the target group in society, what does the general public think? So first, about you, you should always be aware of who you are and what you represent, and if you have a mandate. So meaning you can't just come outside, for example, from outside. Me, as someone from Berlin in Germany, I couldn't just go to Cuneo and say, the public transport here, no, just stupid. The people in Cuneo, they suffer so much. They don't know how to get home in the evenings. Poor people in Cuneo. Me in Berlin, I know how it's done better. No. You have a mandate if it's something that concerns you. So if you live in Cuneo and you're a young person and you don't get home in the evenings, you have a mandate. Yes, then it's something you can do. And of course, it's also important to know what your resources are. So do you have money? Maybe yes, maybe no. If you don't have money, do you have a lot of people in your group? Do you have connections? Do you have an office? Do you have a computer? Do you have someone who is able to design a flyer or design a leaflet or can write articles? So what are your resources? Who are you and what do you have at hand? I guess it's very important to know it first. But there's not only you, so it won't be only you who will suddenly open a new youth center somewhere, or have the night bus service in Cuneo finally running. You will need allies. You will need to network. You will need to share what your ideas are. You will need to share what you want from other people also. And you need to be reliable. So if you have an idea of what you want to do and talk to someone else in your village, maybe if you still sticking with the night bus example, and you set meetings, be there, be reliable. Talk to your allies on a regular basis, right? Just be reliable. But there's not only people who support you, of course, but also people who have something against your idea. Again, I think the example is pretty good, and I'm really glad that it's number one here. The transport example in Cuneo and the taxi drivers. So if taxi drivers see that someone wants more night buses and wants them longer until 2, then you have a problem. So you should definitely find out who your opponents are and what they want, what their interests are, what their agendas are. And also your competitors. Maybe there's someone who's fighting for something similar, for dropping taxi prices in Cuneo. And of course this is not what you want. Maybe it's maybe a solution for a part of your problem, but not of your big problem. So find out what they want, what their interests are, and see also if you can meet up with people and see if someone who you thought would be an opponent, someone who you would never ever talk to, actually might be someone who can help you with certain things. And or someone who runs a similar campaign or has a similar project might team up with you, and together you're stronger. So always think about this when you talk about stakeholders. And but the most important thing is that you should know your interlocutor. Know the person who makes the decisions. What is this person? Who is it? And what kind of position does he or she have? So a couple of questions are helpful here. So, is the decision maker interested in the issue? Does he care about transport, about youth or not? Has he said something earlier? Has he maybe wasted money, and the money that is now somewhere in someone else's pockets? What has he done before? What is his or her agenda? Meaning, what does he as a politician, what does he want? Like, does he want a new highway at any cost, or what's it that he really wants to do in your city? And then from these questions, you should ask yourself, is he an ally? Is he my friend? Is he my opponent, so someone I have to really attack because he does not want what I want? Or is it just someone who really doesn't care and is just, we call it just another lobbyist? So someone who simply does something else because there's an opportunity, because he wants to make money. So this is what you should clarify first. What's the position of the decision maker? And then secondly, you should also find out why he acts. Why does he change his opinion? Is there pressure of citizens that makes him, rule number 3, right? So is it citizens that pressure him, that make him change his mind? Or is it important lobby groups like the taxi drivers in town that make him change his mind? Is it reports in the media, the public image that is difficult for him? Or is it something else? Does he want to become someone bigger, maybe a politician on a national level? Does he want to become a minister in the federal government? Does he have other commitments? So you really should see what reasons an interlocutor, a decision maker has. And then the third thing is power. So does he even have the power to change what you want? So sticking with the transport example in Cuneo, is he the one who says what buses are running and when they are running? Or is it maybe someone else? Is it maybe the region of Piemonte? Or is it, is it a national boy or girl who is in charge here? So this is what you need to find out at any cost. And then, does he have money, or she? And does he have capacity? I call it capacity to allocate funds. So, running buses longer in the night is costly. It costs money. And does he have the money? Does he have the capacity to really fund this and not fund this? So this is what you should find out. And also what other areas and competencies he has, what he can do and what he cannot do. I guess it's absolutely important. And number 4 is his personal but also his institutional limits. So, for example, if you have a mayor, he can't decide things on his own, generally. There's a city council, a little parliament, and this city council also wants to decide things. So the mayor alone is maybe not even the person to go to. Maybe he has other limits, like he doesn't have time, or he doesn't have enough people who can work on the issue, or maybe he can't do it because someone else in the group is really has another position that he doesn't want to fight with. So find out his limits. Any questions on this so far? Very important, because generally what every single politician always wants is to be re-elected. So everything he or she wants is to win the next election, and everything that leads to this, it's his advocacy goal, right? His advocacy goal is to be re-elected. So and all the little sub-objectives lead to his big goal of re-election. And if having more night buses in Cuneo or having a new news center here or there helps him to get re-elected, he will absolutely do it. He will. So, one interesting method and very easy method to analyze the stakeholders is the so-called spectrum of allies. You have two axes, and you can put the stakeholders, you can put yourself and other people here, depending on whether or not they are in favor of your idea, so if they want it, what you want, or if they are against your cause. This is one line. And then the other one is if they are directly concerned or affected by what you suggest, by your idea, or if they're not. So this may sound a little bit tricky, but I'll make an example. So again, the outdoor advertising example from Berlin that we had earlier. And so this is a very broad stakeholder method, spectrum of allies, sorry. That's what it's called. So I said earlier that our campaign was called The Office, right? We were the office against outdoor advertising. And so of course we are very much against outdoor advertising and are, as citizens that we were, rather concerned by all the advertising that was around us. The main interlocutor, so the people who were deciding it, was the local council, and it was headed by the mayor Monika, I call her Monika, and she was with the Greens, and she was very much divided on the issue, so she wasn't not very clear if she was in favor of outdoor advertising or against outdoor advertising. So this is generally the interesting part. All the people who are here in the middle, they still are a little bit undecided. And if someone is undecided, this is your chance. So we, for example, we talked massively to this mayor lady because she seemed to hear what we were saying, but had a lot of arguments saying, yes, but we need the money, and da. But she was central to everything.
Sorry, I didn't hear.
She was central to everything. She was very important. But then there were other political parties in the local council, for example. So the Green Party, her party of the mayor, who had 30% in this local council, was also rather not really decided on the issue. So there were some who said, yeah, we hate advertising, and others who said, what's the deal with it, it's no problem. And so they were really, the mayor and the Green Party were our main focus on like our advocacy target, so to speak. And the interesting thing is that the Green Party can actually say they only need one other party in the local council to have a majority, right? The Greens plus one other. And so it was interesting to see which other parties stand where. So there were two leftist parties, the Left Party and the Pirate Party, so-called Pirate Party in Germany. They were rather against outdoor advertising. The Social Democrats were undecided, and the Conservatives, but who were not very powerful, they love outdoor advertising, and so they're really a big opponent. So much for the political parties. But of course, these were more of interlocutors than they were allies or opponents. So our main ally was so-called Pink Stings. They're a campaign against sexist advertising overall everywhere in Germany. And so they helped us a lot with material, with people sending things, and they also were, then we talked, at the beginning they were not really against advertising in general. They said, oh yeah, it's just the sexism that is a problem. But the more we talked to them, the more they said, oh yeah, you're right, actually, advertising is kind of bullshit. So, other actors that were our main opponents were on this side, so who were massively in favor of outdoor advertising and concerned a lot, because it was the people who do the advertisings. The German outdoor advertisers, the big one is called Valdeco. They're the ones who have the posters out in the streets everywhere that you can rent. They have like these big billboards. And of course, they don't want their business to be destroyed in this little city district. So they were the main opponent. And also another one who was on the agenda was the German Council of the Advertising Industry. Basically also outdoor advertisers, but who were much more aggressive. Yeah, not to forget the general public, who was very much concerned because they see outdoor advertising every single day, but are kind of undecided if they like advertising or not, right? So they're kind of in the middle. So this helped us always to see how people are standing on your issue, and to see who your friends are, to see where you should focus. So our advocacy focus was really here with these people, with the general public, with the mayor, and with these parties who were kind of undecided. And that was really important. I skip this. And now again, it's your turn. I want you to go back to your little teams, to your 9 little teams. And I have another little exercise that you do your spectrum of allies. The spectrum of allies for your advocacy case. So for your 9 little problems and solutions you had. And I would say that I give you these beautiful little papers, which should be enough to have like a little matrix, right? And I will give you cards also, where you can write the names of the stakeholders and the actors on little cards, so that you, if you're not sure whether they're in favor or against your case, so you can move them around. Yeah, and same for the other one, for if they're concerned or not, you can always move them around. Is that more or less clear? Okay, so can I have one person from every group